Today on Rainmakers, we sit down with Teresa Ferreira, the Philanthropy and Marketing Director at ADRA Canada. With a heart for service and a passion for justice, Teresa has dedicated her life to helping communities in crisis, both at home and around the world. In this episode, we explore the personal journey that has led her to ADRA, the power of storytelling in humanitarian work, and the hope that drives her mission every day. Teresa, welcome to Rainmakers.
Thank you, Paul. It's good to be here.
Now, Teresa, we have a history that goes way back. We've worked together in different places around Canada, and schools have been nearby. We also have a history of starting out as teachers.
We do.
And why I mention is that because teachers branch out a lot. They don't stay in education. Tell us a little bit about your background in education and what led you to eventually come to ADRA Canada.
So interestingly enough, Paul, when I did my undergraduate degree at Southern, I was actually pre-law. And so I wasn't even on the teaching track.
Oh, wow.
But then my final year, almost graduation, and God redirected me. And he said, Teresa, education is the course. And so I stepped forward and I taught at some of our premier academies in the US. And then eventually God led me to Asia. And I taught over there as well through Andrews University and Griggs International.
Okay.
And then eventually went into principalship, education superintendent in the Maritimes. And I loved my education journey all along the way. So then after that, God called me, or Paul called me, to the Maritime Conference as executive secretary and a few other roles as well. And then after that, I said, you know what, I'm going to step out for a little bit. I had just been reelected for another 5 years down there and stepped into homeschooling my daughter for a little bit, a few years. And then God called me through ADRA. And I had never stepped into that lane of ministry for our church before. But after 5 months of pursuit, I said, okay,
Wonderful.
I'll answer the call, Lord. And that led me into ADRA.
From education to humanitarian work.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's interconnected,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so really when you have a passion for people and you're open to God's call, then he will guide.
It's easier sometimes for us to provide water in India or Africa, clean drinking water, than it is in our own country.
Yes. So when I was in Yemen, when driving around, I would see oftentimes water towers, right? Water towers that had ADRA on it, or boreholes, right? Or refined pumps and filtration systems that had ADRA right there in those communities.
Yeah.
If that's needed here, we're willing to step in.
Awesome.
And interestingly enough, right now we have activated a water campaign through this summer season that has a reach internationally and nationally here.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. So how does your faith inform you in the way you approach philanthropy and marketing? That's a big word, philanthropy. So you might have to break it down because a lot of people hear that and go, what in the world is philanthropy? So go ahead. How does your faith inform you the way you reach out and market what ADRA does?
Okay, I love this question. And you're right. Many people, so if you say the word fundraising, people will get that, right? But philanthropy is a little bit more refined. And here's why. Because then you're talking about the affinity that people have to their hearts. And it may come from an experience in their childhood or their background. It may come from somebody in their family circle or their friend circle who's journeying through a sickness that they say, you know what, I want to give to this charity. That's affinity giving, and that speaks to the heart of a person.
Right.
It goes so much more beyond just asking for money, right? That's when I think of donations or fundraising.
Yeah.
But when you talk about philanthropy, it goes to the altruistic self of a person.
Yeah. To continue giving.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is why I give. And this is how I want to give because this is at the heart of who I am. Yeah. So when you talk about faith, I think philanthropy is keenly linked to faith. Because within the Adventist, and dare I say, go beyond that, the Christian community, there's a desire to give because God says, I love a cheerful giver. And I know that when you give, whether that's of your time,
Yeah.
whether that's of your prayers,
Mm.
whether that's of your resources, that is going to make you a happier, more content, joyous person.
Right.
So whether that's ADRA, whether that's Hope Channel Canada,
Mm.
whether that's whatever charity God lays upon your heart to give to,
Yeah.
when we give, it brings us from here at humanity up to the level of God, because the biggest gift was God sending his son to die on the
Right.
cross for us, right?
Yeah.
There's giving in the very
Exactly.
nature of who he is.
Yeah.
So I think that when we give, that says, I give because I desire more than this life offers.
So one of the things, Teresa, we've been involved with mission trips.
Hmm.
Going, I mean, you even
Yeah.
served in the mission field, basically what we say the
Mhm.
mission fields. One of the things I noticed when I would run one or be a part of it, that we would bring people along and they would have a lifelong commitment to the
Mhm.
area that we were serving in. They would
Mhm.
ask questions, how's that water project? Because we did one in St. Lucia once. And we would often ask, and I always ask my friends who were involved in that, have you got an update how the water system is going in this one small town? This one small town had water about 3 hours a week.
Mm.
And now they have water 24 hours a day because we built a cistern for water to be pumped in there so that they would have it. But when we bring people to these projects,
Mm.
they will remember them for life. Does ADRA have anything like that? I know we have connection because it was a connections tour to St. Lucia where we did a water project that did it. Does ADRA have connection tours still?
Ah, yes and no.
Okay.
No, right now.
Yeah.
However, we're in the process of rebooting this
Awesome.
connections
Yeah.
entire section connected to my team in particular, Philanthropy and Marketing, because we see value not only in mission trips,
Yeah.
but in our schools. Who
Right.
may want to journey with us on those mission trips.
Yeah.
Our board members, right, or our high value donors,
Yeah.
or we have a significant portion of the diaspora group from various countries in the world here in Canada,
Right.
right? Who may want, as a church, to say, hey, we want to fundraise for this country in particular,
Yeah.
and then eventually want to journey to that country, right?
Mhm.
To see the impact of their dollar.
Right.
And so, yes, interestingly enough, connections trips actually started with ADRA Canada.
Yes.
Yes, and then ADRA Australia caught wind and took it to the next level.
Okay.
And then ADRA International caught wind and took it then to the next level
Yeah.
and elevated even the brand of Connections Trips and
Yeah.
defined it for the entire network.
Mm.
A beautiful brand. And then we continued to be active until COVID
Yeah.
at ADRA Canada.
COVID did an awful
I
thing
know.
for interpersonal connection.
Yes. And so at that time, we shut the program down, but it has been a 2-year journey
Mhm.
of mine, a passion upon my heart to really reboot
Okay.
this entire program.
Excellent.
So right now, I'm hiring for a connections and youth coordinator who would
Mm.
really reboot this entire program because we see value,
Yeah.
transformative value, as you said at the
Yeah.
beginning, right? For people who go to these, and it could be internationally and it could be nationally,
Yeah.
these trips, and they engage with the projects and the what we're doing in these communities, and when they engage they come back changed,
Yeah.
and we want that
Right.
again. And we have quite a few offices within the network already who are ready to go and are actually hosting connections trips from Australia or New Zealand or ADRA International. I think of one in particular, Peru, that
Yes.
has an entire camp dedicated to hosting, right? Whoever may come. And then we have, in particular, there our warming houses project
Mm.
that you could
Yeah.
become active in,
Yeah.
right? And where you go and they map the entire 7 to 10 day itinerary for us. And it's a wonderful program right now.
What's a warming house?
So I will tell you that up in the Peruvian mountains,
Yeah.
that there are a people who have these stone houses,
Mm.
but they were completely open to the elements.
Okay.
and they would sleep with 14 blankets piled on top of them.
Wow.
These families were so cold,
Yeah.
and they're cooking, open fire cooking right inside these
So
houses.
the smoke staying in.
The smoke
Wow.
is circulating and staying
Yeah.
in, and they're freezing. So ADRA came in, partnered alongside of them with ADRA Peru, and
Mhm.
actually, put in some form of either extremely thick plastic
Yeah.
over the windows in these houses, or some kind of stained glass even that we would use
Mhm.
that was able to block the elements, and then set the cooking infrastructure outside and have some kind of ventilation that was taking place.
Because I heard that there were a lot of breathing issues with the people there.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And impacting even their longevity of life.
Wow.
And so
Fantastic.
I know. And
Yeah.
so the young people or churches come in and they actually get hands on experience
Yeah.
with building some of the elements connected to these warming houses. And so now maybe they're sleeping with only two blankets on
Wow.
them as opposed to 14 stacked up.
Really. I
Yes,
can imagine kids trying to sleep in that, just 14 blankets
exactly.
on. So,
Exactly.
yeah. So, do you have a 9 to 5 job? What's the daily routine look like for you and what you do, Teresa?
So on the books,
Yes.
you clock in,
Yeah.
right? But you know that I consider ministry the lifeblood of who I am.
Okay.
And so service takes um, many different faces.
Mm.
And so to say that it's a 9 to 5 job would be grossly inaccurate. And neither do I want that out there. However, I value work life balance as well,
Yeah.
and ensuring that you're caring for your family, ensuring that you're caring for your health, ensuring that caring for who you are in a personal relationship with your God as well.
Well,
So those are vitally important. So I want to put that caveat in
yeah.
there.
No, that's fantastic. I'm glad you did, Teresa.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, I could be dealing with international partners overseas. So 4 a.m., 5 a.m. meetings do happen.
Yeah.
Um, Tonight, in fact, we are kicking off a $30 million project
Mm.
over in the Philippines with Global Affairs Canada. Over 7 years. So, our entire programmatic staff, or the better part of our programmatic staff, as well as Cambodia, Philippines, and Kenya, are there.
Okay.
And those are the countries that we're partnering with in order to roll out this entire project. So they're doing kickoff meetings right now over in the Philippines. And my presentation just happens to fall at 10:30 tonight. So a 9 to 5 job, no.
Yeah.
But um, do I do I feel fulfilled in regard to my family, in regard to what is happening, whether my meetings happen at 4 a.m. or 10:30 at night? Yes. Day to day, keep the office hours. I run right now a team of wonderful people, and I'm currently hiring for 2 to 3 roles
Wow.
right now.
Yeah.
And so we're growing the team. Um, and so a day to day, 9 to 5, no, but I don't think I would be satisfied with that either. So I will say that God is good, and it's an amazing ministry to be a part of.
Excellent. Excellent. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit, but how do you balance storytelling with dignity while you're showcasing people's hardship for fundraising purposes?
Mm. So I'll give you an example of what I'm going to showcase tonight to our Stronger kickoff
Mhm.
meetings with 3 partner countries. And I'm going to talk about champion families.
Mm.
And we're going to track over the next 7 years the inception of a project with multiple families. And we're going to track with them through those 7 years.
Oh,
And we're going
wonderful.
to do it through the lane of who are you now? And what does 7 years of being engaged in an ADRA project look like?
Mm.
Now, this idea of dignified storytelling is so crucial, Paul, that I have spoken to my team about it over the last 2 years on multiple occasions.
Mhm.
And I've shared with them a beautiful document that has been done, not by the ADRA network, by an external entity. It's not a charity, in fact. And I've journeyed with them through this document. And it talks about empowerment as opposed to poverty focus,
Mm,
as opposed to showcasing people. Because let me tell you, when you go and you see those families, internationally or nationally,
mm,
they love their children. They want the best for their children. They love their community. They want the best for their community. But sometimes we get stuck in a cycle where you think, what goes beyond this? And so we, in actuality, want to encapsulate what it means to be resilient, what it means to be, and I'll tell you, if you look at our 2026 calendar, there is a little girl on that calendar that is just so joyful.
mm.
When you look at her, you can't help but smile.
Yeah.
You can't help but see and feel God. But according to the world standards, is she rich? No.
Mm,
In this community in Ghana, she, I would say, is not, according to the world standards, rich. But according to that smile,
mm.
she is rich
Wow.
and she's content. And so we encourage, whether it's our multimedia specialist who goes out, whether it's our content collectors who go out, whoever it may be, to see the joy over there and
Mm,
to really bring that really bring that home. However, I will also say that, is there a sadness that's a part of some of what happens internationally or nationally in our project?
mm.
Yes, there is. To not share that sadness would be a disservice as well.
Right.
And so we try to do it in a way that says, this is a human,
Mm,
this is a life. And we want to do this in a very dignified way,
yeah.
whether it's for fundraising, whether it's just sharing with our donors,
Mhm.
whether it's sharing with our churches, right? We want to make sure that we have done this in a way that says this is an authentic, genuine human life,
Mhm.
and there's value here,
Wow.
whether they're in vulnerable moments, sad moments, or joyous
Yeah.
moments.
Yeah. I remember in Indonesia, I was over there with ADRA,
Hmm.
and I stood on this ground that a big earthquake had hit,
Yeah,
and every single dwelling sank into the quicksand as the
yeah.
liquefaction of the ground. And the government has said it's you can't build anything there because it's a graveyard.
Hmm.
But it was very sobering, and those are some of the stories that we were bringing out as we were filming there of that. So sometimes what we film is very raw and
Hmm.
very hard,
It is.
but and we're not raising money so that money goes into our pockets. We're raising
Mm-mm.
money so that we can help other people to do this. Can you share a lesson or story that you've learned about generosity or community engagement from the people that you've served?
A lesson or a story from the people that we've served. Um, I went um, to Norway recently in February. And interestingly enough, we have an ADRA office there, ADRA Norway, and they hosted us. I sit right now on the Strategic Global Initiatives Committee for the entire ADRA network. And when I sit on this committee, and when we reconvened or we convened there in Norway, um, we didn't think that we were going to necessarily experience anything really transforming. However, we visited a location where an entire youth group had been wiped out a number of years ago on an island. And the rebel
Yeah.
forces in Norway at that time were hoping to really get rid of the upcoming leaders
Okay.
of that time. And while we were there, ADRA Norway had stated that at this time it was a difficult season for Norway to go through.
Mhm.
And ADRA tried to be present in that moment, and to really support the country through this. However, that evening, we also went to a school. And at this school, I saw some of our Adventist future leaders. And it was a high school, grades 10 to 12 that they had there, or I think they call it 1 to 3 over there.
Yeah.
And you know what? That evening, Paul, we recognized that this little school had fundraised $30,000
Wow.
in that year alone, US dollars, in that year alone for ADRA. When I walked into their foyer, they had a banner dedicated to ADRA. Revolving through their screen was an ADRA project and presentation. These were young people. So I sat down with three young ladies, and these young ladies, they knew the ethos of being the hands and feet of Jesus.
Oh, wonderful.
They knew what that meant.
Yeah.
And this was a school sold out to the ministry and purpose in their community for ADRA. And my mind went back to the monument we had visited earlier that day.
Mm.
And thinking about what our young people represented for us at that school, and we recognized them. ADRA Norway at the time, their communications person, got up front and recognized these young people and gave them a huge plaque in honor and recognized what they had done on behalf of ADRA. And I thought, what Norway went through, we would never want to go through with our young people,
Yeah.
where a generation was tried to be wiped out who were future leaders. And I saw in these young people such potential. I'll also share with you that when I visited Yemen a year ago, and I walked into a clinic where ADRA was responsible for those 6 clinics in one hospital. And I walked in, and a little girl came up to me and she held my hand. And they do this thing, Paul, I have to show you, where they take your hand and they go like this, right? And then you respectfully do it back to them.
Right.
And when she did that, and she said to me, and she looked into my eyes, and she said, "Ma'am, don't let ADRA leave us, please." And I thought, this little girl who has understanding of zero context, she was maybe 8, 9 years old, the age of my Sophia.
Yeah.
And she comes to me and she says this, and you think, wow, we help so that women en route don't have to travel 2 to 3 hours to reach a hospital and lose their baby en route. But we have a clinic and a hospital that's, maybe 20, 30 minutes walk in order for them to get
Right.
there, as opposed to going bumping roads through on an ambulance, right?
Yeah.
And that's because we have the vision to want to be present in people's moments where there's a need.
Right.
And I see that and I think, wow, this is why we do what we do. This is why we serve humanity.
Wow, Teresa, that's been amazing. The story, the little girl, the work around the world. I just want to reach out to people that are out there that are watching us right now to somehow get involved with ADRA. Go to the ADRA Canada website and sign up. Make that a daily occurrence, a weekly occurrence to do that. At Christmas time, we do a special calendar where we invite people to take upon them stories and all that. I just want to thank you, Teresa, for all that you're doing for ADRA Canada, and thank you for joining us on Rainmakers today. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
All right. Have you been moved by this story and feel inspired to help us to continue bringing these impactful moments to life? Your support is essential for us to keep showcasing the volunteers making a difference. If you'd like to contribute to the production of Hope Channel Canada and its ministries, it's simple. Visit agentsofhope.ca, where you'll find various ways to donate. Debit, credit, Google Pay, Apple Pay, or even send an e-transfer to Agents of Hope at hopetv.ca. Prefer mailing a check? Send it to Hope Channel Canada at 1148 King Street East, Oshawa, Ontario, L1H1H8. Or for a more personal connection, call us at 1-855-4-HOPE-TV. That's 1-855-446-7388. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel called Hope Channel Canada and click the notification bell so you'll never miss an episode. You can also watch on the show on multiple platforms like hopetv.ca, cable TV, the Roku app, and the Hope Channel app. Are you looking for answers to life's most profound questions? Hope Study provides free online Bible courses that cover essential topics, all at your own pace and from the comfort of your own home. One of our enriching courses, The Unlimited Power of Prayer, invites you to discover the remarkable world of prayer. Here, talking with God is not just a boring routine, but a sincere conversation with a source of love and wisdom. This study will deepen your understanding of prayer's incredible power and help you build a stronger connection with God. Signing up is easy and completely free at hopestudy.ca. Begin your journey today and feel free to share this valuable resource with anyone else seeking answers. Uncover life's answers. Visit hopestudy.ca and start your journey today.